Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, March 11th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is, are you surprised to see it? I'm not surprised to see it. Why are we not surprised to see this? Because this is the same exact card that we ended our reading on yesterday, and it is in the same position. So we're just picking up where we left off last night, my friends. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine union frequency. Work, 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 work. I'm not surprised to see this. Masculine energy has been going through a lot of emotional overwhelm. What is the energy in the divine union frequency doing right now that is so intriguing? The masculine energy in the divine union frequency right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, is working on their own ability to sit with the expression and feeling of their emotionality. Masculine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now is almost finding new outputs, new outlets, new spaces and places of ways to do or how to navigate that energetic overwhelm. And that ability to do so, I want to say it almost like feels like it's carving new neural pathworks, if you will, for a lot of the masculine energy. This is allowing and permitting, if you will, a lot of practicality to enter the fold, both last night and today. So for a lot of the masculine energy that's in this modality right now, this could be really throwing yourself into the tangibles. That's also making a lot of sense, specifically because we saw over the last few days, whatever was feeling like that moderation point that was necessary between masculine and feminine, that point was reached. That plan was made. That yesterday we saw heavy energy around planning, especially for the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency. Today is all about putting those plans in motion. This is going to be the same energetic frequency for the feminine today as well in the divine union frequency. Masculine and feminine coming into the divine union frequency. The breakthrough that we are seeing for a lot of the energy coming into the divine union frequency right now is that beautiful C word, consistency. Consistency, 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 consistency. Especially, I need to stress this. One of the things that we saw that may have created an energetic breakthrough point for a lot of the energy yesterday in the divine union frequency was not the fact that the masculine energy didn't go through some moment that may have felt like an energetic or emotional overwhelm. We saw that even going into the divine union frequency can be very energetically triggering for masculine, because it almost feels like that letting go process, that maturation point, having to surrender and let go of the past, as you realize and recognize the inevitability of what you feel like you're moving into right now. Is the energy coming into the divine union frequency being scared, running in the opposite direction from that? No. This is masculine energy that is moving with a lot of intentionality at this time. What does intentionality look like right now for a lot of masculine energy? Does it mean that you don't have any feelings on it? No. You can't have intentionality unless you feel like you're resisting a feeling. Like, that's not intentionality. That's just doing whatever you want. So the energy of the masculine that is feeling like their purpose is solidifying even in the face of understanding, potentially even looking at the past from a new perspective, but not running back to that past, almost utilizing it as path work that feels like it is further inspiring and in creating that sense of intentionality for you, creating that sense of drive. That is that moment that is the masculine energy really coming into a commitment space with the feminine energy, because that is the moment that is the amplification of the difference between moving towards something because you feel like it versus moving towards something even when it is energetically or spiritually hard. That is the intentionality of purpose that, I hate to break it to you guys, is the expression of love. We don't just love when it's easy, we love when it's difficult. For a lot of the masculine energy right now, that is again working through what may have felt like a bit of that energetic overwhelm. Was masculine energy subjecting the feminine to that in the divine union frequency? No. What is the masculine energy doing? Utilizing their power of their own words, being able to sit in a point of overwhelm and communicate what they are feeling, as opposed to subjecting the feminine to it. That is leading a lot of the feminine to feel that security and stability right now of really getting on path work with masculine. Masculine that is is very driven in terms of their own intentionality and purpose. Feminine energy, seeing the masculine, putting that energetic effort in, not just when it's easy, but when it's energetically or emotionally hard, having those hard discussions, communicating their emotionality, putting themselves in that vulnerable place. This is feminine saying, I've never seen a masculine so strong, because they realize to the feminine the value point of seeing a masculine that's able to confront their emotions and not run away in the opposite direction. That is the metric of strength for a feminine, because that is a feminine seeing a masculine that is doing what a feminine energy wants a masculine to do, which is protect the feminine from the masculine, but not protect the feminine from other masculines, protect the feminine energy from the masculine themselves. When we heal ourselves, we heal and protect those around us from our shadow self, from our worst version of self. Seeing a feminine seeing a masculine that is picking up this work and is doing this work for themselves is feeling like they are reaping the benefits of that masculine energy being on a healing journey. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is that putting one foot in front of the other. I told you these energies in separation right now have made some very hard choices. They are energetically pulling away from something that they would aspire and desire not to pull away from, but seeing something there that feels like they haven't seen indications that path work is possible, or that someone is coming into a healing gesture for the sake of their own self. For the energy moving in this way, this is that committed determination on your own path. That is that commitment to one's own path, affirming and saying to oneself, I'm not releasing someone. I am saying to myself that if someone can find me on my path, they'll know where to find me. And that's the energy of me, again, coming into potentially manifestations, coming to root here, because this is the energy that's basically saying, either through that person coming into a point of healing, or through someone else who has already done that work. That is the fixation towards the manifestation goal, pushing through even beyond one's own immediate needs and desires. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is flying out of the deck. Not surprised to see her. Same exact position as yesterday. We've got our Queen of Swords. This is the feminine energy learning resilience. This is the feminine energy learning resilience. This is the feminine energy recognizing and realizing that a manifestation goal isn't just something you say and then you just want it and done it. Feminine energy recognizing that when you move towards a manifestation, you have to move towards a manifestation. You have to punch your weight. You have to do that hard work. You have to make those hard choices. You have to choose the manifestation in the present. You can't just say it and then move in a way that doesn't amplify the directionality that you aspire and desire. For the feminine energy doing this work right now, that is the path of resilience, setting those boundaries, carving out that space, saying, this is my circle, this is where I am going, this is the direction of my path, I am carving my path this way. Anything that anyone that wants to find me in this way knows where they can energetically find me. This is a moment that for the feminine energy, this is kind of beautiful because this is feminine taking a lot of that energetic overwhelm that we saw coming through with that Pisces new moon, allowing it to be that like that goodbye energy, that moment of letting go, but then almost staying committed now in the path and purpose of saying, I am doing this not just for myself, but for the energy that I'm hoping will come into healing through doing what I know is the right thing as opposed to the easy thing. Masculine energy in this modality right now, this is the same energetic work that we're seeing. For the masculine right now, this is that moment or modality. This is masculine focusing and building a moment. And again, if this is a masculine that's releasing a feminine because they feel like the feminine is too adaptable, is too changeable, is too willing to bend or contort or make themselves miserable, trying to come into alignment with the masculine, to the fact that the masculine doesn't feel like it's fair or right to see the feminine in that modality. This is the masculine almost trying to affirm to feminine as they move forward, saying, listen, I'm not doing this because I don't care about you. I'm doing this because I want you to be strong. I want you to be your own person. I want you to be able to focus on your manifestation goal. And this is the gift of a masculine doing this right now, because this is the masculine saying, if I have to love you from a distance to be able to have you maintain that vibration, then so be it, because that is the act of the gesture of the masculine saying, I am not just moving in this way for the sake of my own self. I am moving in this way for the hope that maybe that energy of the feminine will come into their own power and their own strength, and one day our paths may cross again. While at the same time, masculine is going forward right now with that sense of resilience, moving in a direction of saying, and I also recognize that there are those that are already in that modality. Masculine and feminine energy that are coming into divine union. What is the combined energetic signature of the energy that is staying in and going deep into the heart of the divine union right now? Feminine seeing masculine building that sense of strength through consistency, through choosing the feminine over and over and over again. It's not a one it and done it thing. This is a feminine energy that is seeing a masculine that realizes and focuses and lets their intentionality move them towards the feminine, even when they're experiencing points of emotional overwhelm. We saw potential examples of that yesterday with a lot of the masculine energy coming into an energetic overwhelm, but instead of leaning away from the feminine, it actually built that connective tissue. So for the feminine energy that sees that masculine, even while experiencing a lot of energetic changes while coming into the heart of the divine union, this isn't a masculine that's frightened by doing that work. This is masculine energy that's committed to doing that energetic heavy lifting that is required in order to maintain the consistency of staying in the divine union frequency. Masculine, you are seeing a feminine energy that even if you come into an emotional overwhelm space, has that resilience, is there for you, creates that safe framework wherein you feel like you can be your most authentic self. So your gift of vulnerability is almost immediately being matched by a feminine that is almost affirming and giving you that energetic power and saying that this is a safe space that the feminine is creating. That this isn't a feminine energy that is frightened away by your own vulnerability, but in a way will do everything that they can to take up the heavy lifting at times that you are feeling low, that is almost feeling like, again, the beauty of the counterpart energy, because this is a masculine that doesn't feel like they have to do all of the heavy lifting at every moment. The feminine is there to take up the slack. This is the energetic signature right now, the energy that's in the divine union frequency, because for the energy in the divine union frequency, this is something that you give yourselves over and over and over again. The energy in the divine union frequency, this was that point of moderation that was necessary to be reached over the last few days. We even saw that for a lot of the divine union right now, that observation in terms of what you're putting your time, effort, and energy into right now, it is creating a layer or degree of discernment. For feminine energy, this is some of that resilience, taking a page from the masculine's own book. Again, coming into a space, especially if you saw masculine, that needed some of that energetic support yesterday, kind of coming into your own power, if you will, to help amplify to a masculine that you are there to help them, even at times that they may be feeling energetically low or energetically exhausted. Masculine, seeing a feminine energy that is working through this point of resilience. This is, again, the masculine energy patting themselves on the back, if you will, because this is, again, what is the energy in the divine union been trying to do for the feminine energy in the divine union frequency? Showing them their own power. This is not energy that wants a feminine energy that is in a point of vulnerability or weakness. This is a masculine energy in the divine union frequency that wants the feminine to be their best, absolute best version of themselves, really helping them kind of become that energetic signature that they aspire and desire to be. So seeing a feminine energy coming forward in that modality, that in itself feels like the gift of the masculine, because that's a masculine saying, the feminine didn't just come into that, I did that. I help that feminine find their own strength. And so that is that supportive system that we see as being cultivated and curated for a lot of the energy in the frequency. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is Strength card in its reversal. Isn't it amazing that we find our strength through those moments of vulnerability, masculine and feminine? What is the strength that the masculine is learning right now? Masculine is learning the beautiful act of coming into strength at a time that doesn't feel like strength. That ability of being emotionally expressive. What did I say that a lot of the energy in the divine union frequency is doing right now for the masculine? Bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine is not running from their emotions. They're allowing themselves to feel the full extent of those emotions, and then they're finding more positive and productive ways to amplify the direction that they're putting them in. This is potentially even a masculine energy that's allowing themselves to almost inhabit that state that may have previously felt like an emotional overwhelm state, almost saying to themselves to a certain extent, if I just allow myself to feel this feeling, what's the worst that's going to happen? That is how we challenge against the abandonment wound. So for a lot of the masculine energy, being able to let yourself have that energetic expression, if you will, is the gift that is coming through with this. That is almost the gift of this Pisces new moon. It is feeling the strength that happens when you allow yourself to hit that moment that may have felt like it would have created a trigger, felt like it would have created an emotional overwhelm point in the past, and seeing the water stay still, seeing that ability of not becoming reactive. A lot of the energy in the divine union frequency not only is experiencing this, but they feel like they're gaining a lot of that insight from whom? The feminine energy that has that ability, right? Feminine energy, seeing a masculine that is becoming able to really harness their strength, not even when they're feeling strong, but also when they're feeling vulnerable. Feminine is also, again, almost amplifying and trying to create a safe space for masculine in that moment, because this is the energy of the feminine giving themselves a pat on the back, saying, I've created a safe space where this masculine feels like they can be their most authentic expression of self. Masculine and feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency, this observation point, this is the energy coming very deep into the heart of the divine union frequency much more quickly. Why? Masculine energy, feeling that moment, feeling that pull of the past, potentially even having that moment of clarity as you move into the divine union frequency on what wasn't necessarily working in the past, potentially even taking a little bit of more accountability in some of that work. Is that understanding leading masculine to running back into the past? No. It's the masculine saying, you're the one that showed me this. You are the energetic counterpart that helped me have these breakthroughs. I am committing my energy here again and again and again and again, because that is the energy of the masculine saying, this is where I know I felt that breakthrough point. And this is masculine saying, I have vulnerability from the past. The more I feel, the more I understand, the more I feel. It's not like the past just disappears. It almost feels like that heightened sensitivity to the past. But that's the masculine energy, almost feeling and experiencing that abandonment wound, but not reacting to it, not running away from that feeling, embracing the vulnerability of the love, of the energetic frequency of love. Love makes you feel very vulnerable, but it also makes you feel very strong at the same time. It is that silk to steel approach. Feminine, seeing a masculine that's mastering this ability, being able to be at a point both very vulnerable and very strong, not letting that vulnerability shake them in relationality to their own intentionality and commitment towards the feminine. This is the affirmation of the energy moving very deeply after that energetic overwhelm further into the heart of the divine union frequency, building that energetic tissue, if you will, between you at a moment that would have potentially led to separation in past experiences or with past counterparts. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is that modality that feels like the intentionality of purpose combined with the sense of surrender. That's what we call manifestation. In order to move towards something, you have to be able to say to oneself, what am I willing to let go? What am I willing to release to be able to welcome in what I need to bring forth? So being able to recognize that right now, that ability of observation, that energetic gift that we see that is happening right now that feels like it's so energetically heavy. It's also very empowering, because this is the feminine energy saying, I can feel vulnerable about the direction I need to move into right now. I can realize that my heart may have been set on something else, but this is the feminine energy almost saying, I am not relinquishing that manifestation desire. If there was a desire to move forward with the masculine, but the feminine is not seeing the masculine in the modality wherein the masculine can manifest that with the feminine at this time, it is logical for the feminine to say, I need to release you with the hope that that existence, that energy, that manifestation goal does exist. It exists that way, and I hope you find yourself so that we can find ourselves on that path together someday. Simultaneously, masculine right now is doing that same work. If there is a feminine that is too adaptable, too changeable, not being able to hold forth, but almost trying to contort and move off of their own alignment to be with a masculine, this is masculine saying, I don't want to see you doing that. I don't want you to do it for me, and I don't want you to do it for yourself. My aspiration is by letting you go, perhaps our paths will cross again someday. So both of these energies profoundly doing that act of love that is release while also focusing on their manifestations. It's that silk to steel approach, feeling very vulnerable about doing that, feeling like that raw wound, but also saying, even though you feel vulnerable about it, doesn't mean that it's not the wrong direction. It just means that sometimes when we need to move with that sense of intentionality, purpose, that stoicism, it can be hard, because that is that moment that we are allowing our intentions to guide us and our purpose, our highest path. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today, we have here, that is the commitment to the path. A lot of energy right now in separation. Is this energy saying that they want something non-committal? No, they're focusing on their path. They are in a way in separation, saying, I am more committed to what I desire in partnership, in commitment, than I ever have been before. Because what is this energy just basically said? This is energy that just said, I am willing to release what is not for me, recognizing and understanding that I know what it is that is for me. So even now, this is that moment that is almost trying to advocate a lot of this energy in separation, leading forth right now, even in new energetic connections, doing the hard part first, potentially even new energetic connections, having a lot of discussion in relationality to what you aspire and desire for in partnership. Specifically because a lot of this energy that's in separation right now just basically had to move away from the desired partnership potentiality because they didn't see the ability to have the commitment that one aspired and desired in those modalities and in those scenarios. So how is this energy affirming that they are healing going forward? They're getting very, very, very clear as to what they want. Masculine and feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency. This is the energy in the divine coming into the divine union frequency, moving into the heart of it much faster than we're typically used to. This is moving very, very quickly. But again, why? Because this is energy that is already doing that path work. So when it's doing that path work and you're not doing it for the sake of the other, you're just finding someone that's doing that work already for themselves, it feels like the commitment is effortless because it doesn't feel like you're dragging someone along for the ride. You're just encountering them in the same modality. You have the same commitment. You share the same purpose. You share the same desire. Masculine, showing that commitment by moving towards feminine with intentionality again and again and again. Feminine, building that resilience, building that confidence in seeing a masculine whose actions match their words. Feminine is also rising to the challenge here in terms of feeling that resilience, especially if we just saw a moment where the masculine was very energetically open about something. Was this a feminine that ran in the opposite direction, seeing a masculine becoming energetically open about something? No. This is feminine energy that became strong when they saw the masculine becoming soft, acting as that perfect mirror, providing what is needed at a moment that it is necessary. So we see that a lot of the energy right now, even that there may have been a lot of energetic overwhelm, potentially even feminine seeing a masculine communicating on their feelings instead of subjecting the feminine to their feelings. This is what is creating all of this connective tissue right now and really firming up a lot of these divine unions that are coming into play. The energy already in the heart of the divine union, you're already in this modality. This space and place already exists. The thing that's happening right now is this is the recommitment to the path and to the purpose. Masculine and feminine doing a lot of planning over the last few days to navigate a space where both of these energies desired and aspired for the same things, but had very different ways of going about it. What is occurring in this modality right now? Masculine is feeling relieved because having a plan allows that ability to put a lot of energetic energy into the tangible, as opposed to the emotional space. This is the masculine coming out of that emotional overwhelm and just wanting to push that energy into spaces and places that will have a tangible result. Feminine taking a lot of the same energetic signature here, working through a point of resilience, also trying to match the masculine's own ability here, because this is feminine energy that is trying to create that safe, supportive system, as it were, to make the masculine feel comfortable to be able to come into that point of emotional, energetic feeling. Both of these energies right now having that simultaneous expression of feeling somewhat vulnerable. I want to say it's like the new moon hangover. We don't usually have new moon hangovers. We're having a new moon hangover this time. But again, you're powering through it by getting a little bit more resilient. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our 9 of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy coming in the divine union frequency. One of the things that we're effectively seeing right now, and this is that hard path work that we were observing, which is that recognition point that something about over the last few days was the observation point. We keep seeing this come up between what one aspires for and the prioritization of when something can be achieved. That is the biggest question right now that's hovering around a lot of the energy in the divine union frequency. It's not about potentially shelving anyone's manifestation goals. It's more about addressing what can you tangibly do and tackle at what timing. So even now, That energetic equivalent has a lot to do with something that is feeling more like the expression of the tangible overwhelm. There's a lot to do, potentially that feeling of not a lot of time or not enough energy to do it. So what do? When we experience that, we look for efficiencies. The energy in the divine union right now is looking for efficiencies via prioritization of plans, planning, and ascertaining what is the most important thing to do. What are your focuses? What are your mutual goals? That is helping energy right now stay on target or stay focused, even at a point that you may be feeling like you've got a lot of work to do. Masculine and feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency. This is that modality that is being experienced where you may be getting a lot of breakthroughs in relationality to understanding what did not work in the past. For some of you coming into the divine union frequency, this can feel a little profound. This can feel a little bit shaky when you experience it, because that understanding of self that suddenly recognizes and makes you realize what you would have done differently or what you would have changed can sometimes pull you out of the divine union frequency. But what is the energy that's staying in the heart of the divine union frequency doing right now? You're ascertaining and recognizing that when you go through a heart opening, that power of understanding almost feels like the amplification of carrying a lot of joy in your heart at the same time as carrying a lot of grief. The energy of the masculine specifically, this is the masculine energy that's moved into that point of intentionality, saying, I can grieve the things that I would have done differently in the past that may have led to different outcomes, but that doesn't mean that I'm not still grateful for the space and place that I find myself in today. That is the healing that also closes up the opportunity of falling out of the divine union frequency, because that's that moment of basically holding space for something to allow yourself to heal from it as opposed to chasing after it. Feminine energy, seeing a masculine moving through that modality, potentially even sharing this. This is the feminine energy feeling that wave of relief, because this is the feminine energy that only feels anxiety when a masculine is like holding some like candle or holding some space in their heart that they don't want to articulate and discuss, because that's a feminine feeling like the masculine's trying to hide something from a feminine. So when a feminine energy sees a masculine that's almost processing and talking through experiences from the past, almost saying to the feminine, like I hold space for that. These are things that are hard for me. These are things that I didn't necessarily desire the outcome on. This is the feminine energy saying, me too. I always feel like that. And that's the ability of the energy that's basically saying to one another, our ability to move forward together doesn't mean that we just take anything that we felt on the past and just throw it out the window and pretend it never happened. It is holding space to each other to come into deeper feelings of healing by observing what didn't work in our past, while also recognizing that that doesn't mean that we want to return back to them, but it gives us a space or place to be able to process through them. Masculine and feminine energy that is in separation. This is that affirmation that we're basically seeing right now. And what's difficult about it is we see that there's a lot of karmic cycles here that may be reaching a point that feels like a conclusion. But what is the energy saying right now that's coming into some closing out of energetic cycles right now? This is feminine and masculine energy coming into the closing out of cycles, saying the only way for there to be a beginning is if there is an end. The only way that there can be a new beginning is if there is an end. So we see that a lot of the energy right now that is moving forward in this way is affirming this to themselves, saying, I am not trying to come into an end point with an energy. I am hoping and aspiring for a new beginning someday. But at the same time, not holding out indefinite hope. Not sitting on your hands and knees with a candle waiting for that day to come, saying that day may never arrive, but the only place I can have hope for it to arrive is that way. And there's already energy that I know is on that path. So we see here for a lot of the energy going through this is that moment that may feel a little like sad but true, holding on to that point of healing and grieving, but also reaffirming your commitment going forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Ace of Pentacles in its reversal and our Queen of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through. It becomes easier. The energy that's moving forward in this way is telling themselves, if it is heavy to bear, it will become easier as you continue forward from this point. This is almost the energy saying to themselves, it is the hardest now, It is the hardest as I begin to do this, so that we almost see to a certain extent that for a lot of the energy in separation in this way, that commitment of saying, I am moving forward because my aspiration is that I will be able to come into alignment with someone, and it won't be impossible. It won't feel like I have to do all the heavy lifting. It won't feel like every step is like trying to move through quicksand. It is the aspiration of saying, hopefully, if I let someone go on their own path, go on their own journey, they will be in alignment with me to such an extent that it will feel like we are easy traveling together, because that is the difference of feeling like there are two energies pulling against each other in different directions, versus two energies that feel like that easement of alignment and recognizing that you want the same things and you're just moving joyously in that direction. So even now, there could be feminine energy that is feeling some expression of that, either through a point of personal catharsis or seeing some tangible examples around them, even now at a time of separation, on how easy that can be when you just move in alignment with energy that desires and aspires the same thing. Masculine in separation, you're either having that personal breakthrough moment yourself, or again, you are potentially articulating and unpacking this with the feminine energy that is almost affirming you and saying, I know exactly what you mean. That is energetically finding alignment with someone. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. The energy of easement is what feels so potentially energetically overwhelming here. It almost feels like you're like falling upwards, if you will, because you're not even trying that hard to maintain the divine union frequency. It just feels as natural as breathing, right? And it's not that it's always easy, but that's that moment of recognizing that even when you're moving in alignment with someone, even when there's conflict, even when it's difficult, it doesn't feel like it's impossible. It might feel like the easiest thing you've navigated, because what did we just see right now in some of this energetic signature of feminine, seeing a masculine coming into divine union that isn't subjecting the feminine to the masculine's emotions, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is a masculine that's able to articulate on their emotions. Masculine, you may be feeling that same level or degree with the feminine, that again, doesn't subject someone to their emotions, but instead is able to clarify and articulate how they are feeling to be able to facilitate productivity. So we see here, a lot of this energy is almost feeling like, it's a little bit of a shockwave, because you're like, it's so easy, it takes your breath away. Masculine and feminine energy coming, but it's not easy because these energies are making it easy. Why? Because this is a feminine energy that's learned the power of resilience, and this is a masculine energy that's learned the power of intentionality and commitment of purpose. Masculine and feminine energy coming in the heart of the divine union frequency right now. This is why this energy is felt a little bit more tricky and temperamental in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, because it's not leading to any like hallelujah breakthroughs. You're already in the heart of the divine union frequency. It's requiring more of a practical energy here in terms of recognizing that you got a lot to do, and you just got to figure out what you want to do first and in what order and where that energy is going and what you're putting your priorities toward right now. Being able to come into that alignment for both masculine and feminine is almost trying to find the efficiencies, trying to find those points of easement. It feels a little bit more like it's going to feel more picky. I'm going to be that honest. It's going to feel more picky right now for the energy in the divine union frequency, because it's about recognizing where both energies want to put that intentionality. Continuing for the sake of making it easier to go forward. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Swords in combination with our Strength card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Beautiful. Beautiful energy today. We've got here our Two of Cups. So what is occurring right now that's really lovely? Is this an energetic equivalent in the divine union frequency that says that the masculine needs to be the strong man all the time? Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. No. Why? Because this is feminine energy that says to masculine in the divine union frequency, I don't think you look any stronger than when you are vulnerable. I don't think there's any deeper expression of your strength than when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And this is the energetic expression of love of a feminine saying, when you are weak, I want to be strong. I want to show you that it is safe, that you do not always have to be the one to do the heavy lifting. That is how our union forms. Silk to steel. Silk to steel. Masculine saying to the feminine in that modality, this is why I value our partnership. This is why I value our partnership, because you have that ability to be strong. I want to encourage you to be your own strength, your own sense of strength. Why would I ever want a partner that isn't standing in their own power? Because that is the masculine saying to the feminine, I value you when you are soft, but I also value the fact that when you are soft, it is a choice. It is a choice that you make to be soft for me. It is not something that is just something that you're inhabiting. You are making it a choice for yourself. And I love, this is the masculine almost saying, the only thing I love more than seeing you vulnerable is knowing that that is a choice that you make. It's not just a space or place that you inhabit. It is the gift of your vulnerability that you give to me from coming into your own power. So that is the beauty of the surrender that we're seeing in the divine union frequency right now. Energetically, for the energy coming into the divine union frequency right now, this is building that confidence to be more and more vulnerable with each other. Why is this energy building that ability, stretching out becoming vulnerable is just as much a strength exercise as being strong. The energy coming into the divine union frequency is learning to trust the ability to be vulnerable with each other. Why? Because every time this masculine is vulnerable, is this a feminine energy that attacks the masculine in their vulnerability? Is this a feminine energy that accuses the masculine and not being strong enough for the feminine? No. This is the feminine energy giving the same expression I just gave of the energy in the divine union frequency. There's no greater gift that you can give me than your vulnerability, because I know how much strength it takes for you to be vulnerable. Masculine, seeing a feminine that is, again, not in a modality of being soft because that's where they inhabit. This is feminine energy that knows resilience, that has their own strength, that has their own confidence. This is feminine, again, working through those moments of being confident with masculine. So feminine, feeling that sense of confidence that is fortifying in a masculine that is constantly showing their energetic commitment towards you again and again and again, is building your own confidence and vulnerability at the same time. It's like, I feel more confident around this person, but I also feel like I can be more vulnerable. Masculine, you are feeling that as well. So these energies are feeling the beautiful alignment of counterpart energy in being able to come into that silk to steel approach. Masculine and feminine energy coming into that are in separation right now. This is the acceptance of working on the manifestation goal that allows you to inhabit this modality. I told you, where are these energies right now that are in separation? We are seeing here feminine energy that is effectively aspiring and desiring not to want to have to be the strong one all the time. This is a feminine energy that may even feel like they're pulling away from a connection that was asking them to be vulnerable without giving them any sense of feeling of trust or support. Feminine just can't be vulnerable because it's not a safe space for them to do so. Feminine needs to feel the confidence of a masculine that makes it safe for the feminine to be their most vulnerable self. So for the feminine energy, this is a feminine almost saying to a masculine, I need to break away from you if there's a separation moment where the feminine feels like it's not safe for them to be vulnerable, because this is feminine saying, I aspire and desire for a connection where, again, I can be confident and I can be soft. I can be strong and I can be soft. I don't have to inhabit one or the other. So for some of the feminine energy that's coming into separation right now, this is potentially feminine feeling like that balance point was off. Either a feminine energy that felt like they had to be the strong one, everything in their partnership required them to do all of the heavy lifting, or a feminine that had a masculine that just wanted them to be open and available to them all the time, an oasis instead of a garden, without ever giving them the support of the energy they need that allows for a point of stability at a point of vulnerability. So we see that this is the feminine energy saying, I am moving towards that manifestation goal, even in separation. And utilizing their powers of discernment to say, that's not it. That's requiring me to be too strong. This isn't it. It's requiring me to be too vulnerable without building that sense of confidence. This is feminine saying, I am looking for the energetic counterpart that realizes that in order for me to be able to inhabit these modalities, in order for someone to get the sweet spot of a feminine being both strong and soft, silk to steel, you got to commit to it. You got to create a space or place that the feminine can feel confident to do that. Masculine, you're recognizing and realizing this if you're in separation, especially if there's a feminine energy that you're breaking away from right now because either one of two different modalities, right? Either a masculine that revealed their truth, tried to build a point of honesty and clarity with the feminine, and feminine said, I don't want to see that side of you. No, change your energy back. get on my path. You can't be like that. Go back to the illusion of what you were showing me and we'll be fine. Masculine saying, I can't do that. Or a feminine saying, it's okay. I'm not happy with who you are or what you want, but I'll just change and contort. I'll twist myself to accommodate you. And this is masculine going, no, I don't want that either. This is the masculine energy in separation saying, I want to find a counterpart energy that is both strong enough to be resilient to also match me on my path while also being vulnerable and open to me. A masculine realizing and saying, I need to show a feminine that there's a safe space for them to do so. And that starts with openness, clarity, communication, setting one's intention in what you truly want, and then working towards it together, as opposed to basically creating that and trying to create that, someone tripping into that accidentally. Right? This is the masculine saying, I can't trick someone into being in a relationship with my true self. I need to show them my true self and see if they're on board to match me there. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Strength card in its reversal and our Hierophant. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now, and this is a little bit of the problem right now that is occurring for some of the energy in separation, right? What are we effectively seeing right now? This is why we see so much of this energy right now is putting a lot of intentionality in their pathwork right now, staying very, very committed to the directionality that they want to head towards right now, because that connection to the past energy is still there. It's still present. That's that moment of recognizing and feeling like you're carrying forth with it, because that is that moment of saying, I feel a connection towards someone, but I recognize it's unhealed. I recognize that something is open and available to me, but not under those circumstances, not under those conditions. There's a door open there. The door's open. Someone's like beckoning, but that is not what I want something to be, right? We see a lot of this energy right now in separation, feeling that pull, feeling that energetic weight, recognizing that there's something that's still available to them to go back towards right now, but understanding and assessing and saying it's not healed yet. It's not healed. This is that moment of looking again, focusing on the manifestation and aspiration while also potentially observing what is presently available to you, potentially even to go back to, but saying to oneself, that's not healed. That's not healed. Feminine may be seeing, like, again, whatever that alignment is, if there's a masculine trying to come towards you that hasn't done that work, is almost, again, trying to come towards you from a need-based, want-based mentality, just amplifying the desire instead of talking about what you're building forth in terms of the path ahead, or also potentially still in a modality where they're subjecting you to their emotions as opposed to being able to express them and articulate and discuss them. This is feminine saying, I can't come back to that. I see it, it's there. I still feel that connection point to it, but this is the feminine almost observing and saying, yeah, it's okay that I feel that. That doesn't mean that it's the right thing for me. I'm seeing it with the clarity. I'm feeling vulnerable to it because, again, it is something that is pulling me back because I feel an energetic or passionate connection towards someone. That is that moment of feminine observing, again, both of the paths that are available to them. But what is the feminine doing? They're utilizing their power of observation on the path that doesn't feel like it's in alignment to them to help fortify their intentionality towards the one that they know that is. Masculine, you're doing the same exact work right now. If you are on the healing journey, because you are potentially looking right now at a feminine that's almost coming towards you and either saying, like, just change, just go back to who you were. Pretend that never happened. Pretend you never told me those things about yourself. Or a feminine going, I'll change, I'll adjust, I'll modify, just anything to be with you. And that's that moment of masculine, again, feeling that temptation, feeling that ability of going back towards something and saying, but having clear optics on how unbalanced it feels, on how unequal it feels, on what it would take to be able to facilitate that. This is the masculine, again, feeling the opportunity of those paths both being open right now, recognizing and seeing what isn't healed, is reaffirming one's own intentionality and with purpose towards what you know is right. And it's hard because when we move with intentionality, it's not because we move towards what feels like it's easy, because often what is unhealed is what's easy. It is observing it and saying, well, of course I feel called to that. It's not healthy, but there was something there that satisfied me. It's not healthy, but I felt that passionate connection with someone. It's completely off alignment, but those rare moments of happiness like usurp all of the moments of frustration and anger and sadness and tears That's that moment of looking and saying, that's the energy saying, I accept that that's just the nature of that situation and circumstance. Doesn't mean that you're moving in the wrong direction. You're just seeing it clearly enough that it's reaffirming your commitment in terms of what you do want, even while feeling that energetic calling towards what you know isn't what's best for you. Masculine and feminine coming into the divine union frequency right now. This is that modality that you're also coming through on, because that's that modality in terms of your own understanding on your path, that you may be able to see what was unhealed a lot more clearly now. Why? Because you're moving with intentionality and in the direction of energy with that intentionality of commitment. What happens when you're moving in an energetic frequency that is intentional, that is committed, that you're feeling that bond between you and another, that is based on the energetic expression of finding someone that is in alignment with your path? It really shines a light on anything that wasn't in alignment prior to this. So even now we see that ability to identify and feel that to a certain extent, it doesn't make it all disappear. It just changes your own perspective on things. Masculine and feminine in the divine union frequency. This is that moment that is almost ascertaining what feels like. I told you, a lot of the energy right now in the divine union frequency is recognizing and understanding how much you have changed since entering the divine union frequency. And that's the interesting thing about when we change and when we evolve. Things that we feel that may have been necessary at one point in time suddenly feel extraneous, indulgent, unnecessary at others. So what we effectively identify and recognize here is a lot of that work in recognizing what no longer serves, to be able to move with more commitment towards what you feel is in alignment with you at present. So some of this could be, I told you, it's a little bit like training wheels coming off, because it's almost looking at something and saying, that's not necessary anymore. We don't need to do that. We don't need to go there. We don't need to do these things, because the commitment between you is becoming so strong, it's changing what you feel like you do and do not need. Something that you may have felt was necessary in the past is now feeling extraneous, indulgent in the present. That's the sign of evolving into some kind of new energetic signature. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Hierophant in combination with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. We love this energy. This is beautiful. We've got here our Empress. Look at these combinations right now of the energetic frequency. What is happening right now for the energy in the divine union frequency? Feminine energy. What happens with the feminine energy that is both strong and soft? What kind of formula is that? What do we make when we got something that's strong and soft? Silk to steel. We got our Empress, my friends. That's the Empress, right? So the feminine energy coming into alignment, being able to be strong and soft. Empress. It's Empress energy. That's the equivalent of these cards. 1 + 1 = Empress. So we see here that this is a feminine energy that has been evolving in the divine union frequency into their full Empress potential, coming into a space or state where they can both be extremely strong and extremely soft. Is the feminine energy coming into the embodiment of the Empress? What is the masculine energy doing right now? If this is a masculine that is learning to energetically connect, that is learning to be able to emotionally experience their feelings, but move with intentionality through them instead of subjecting others to them. That's a leader. That's a Hierophant. That is being able to be strong and intentional, but not cutting yourself off from your energetic or spiritual aspect, feeling those things and still being able to communicate from them. It's the same mathematics, the same addition. So these energies right now, this is where these energies are coming into being. This is what the evolution of the energy right now in the divine union frequency is becoming. Masculine and feminine, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Look at this counterpart energy. And what is effectively happening here? As the energy comes into this, suddenly, you pick up what you wear before, and you're like, I would never wear this anymore. What was I ever thinking with this? Why did I ever want to do that? It's because you're shifting into a new state of being. So when you do, you're like, what was I even thinking? I didn't need that. Like it's putting things down so you can pick up new things, as it were. Masculine and feminine energy that is coming into the divine union frequency. This point of ascertaining, this is the truth, this is the trust fall that is happening right now for the energy. I don't even want to say trust fall. I want to say like trust fly. This is like the energy that is learning that they can lean on each other, and it's that moment of feeling that energetic support. Because right now, what's effectively happening? Masculine moving with intentionality towards the feminine, even at a time that you're feeling a lot of perceptual shifts, potentially even going through an emotional, overwhelming moment, building connective tissue with a feminine at that time in a space or place that you may have acknowledged and understood and said, past version of me, I never would have said that. I never would have connected with a feminine like that. I never would have revealed those things. This is the masculine taking that risk, opening up to the feminine. What's feminine saying? Thank you. I'm resilient enough. I'm strong enough to accept. I am strong enough to see you at your weakness. And in fact, I feel like that is the gift of commitment that you are giving towards me. So this is the masculine, again, building that sense of appreciation to a feminine. Saying, again, this is a feminine energy that I feel that commitment and effort towards, because this is the masculine saying, I feel like there's nothing that I can't put forth to this feminine that the feminine cannot find some way to embrace. And that's not the feminine just getting into like a yes man kind of thing, being like, yep, yep, yep. This is a feminine that's able to hold space for the masculine to be their most authentic expression of self, so long as the masculine is not subjecting the feminine to the emotions, but articulating on them. And much like that's because there's a feminine here that does the same for the masculine. Being able to communicate, being able to take those negatives and turn them into positives. That is what's reaffirming a lot of the energy coming into divine union, that makes it feel like it's easy and almost makes it feel like you found your perfect counterpart, but is really based on the fact that these energies have been doing so much work on themselves to reach this point. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is that difficulty point, especially because some of this energy is rising into this at a moment that says it's not that. This is the feminine energy potentially saying, I feel a deep connection to someone, but I don't feel like an empress in that person's presence. I don't feel like I'm seen and appreciated. And that's why we see here that this is why some of the feminine energy is working on some of that energetic release right now, because this is the feminine energy saying, I can care about someone profoundly, but I don't feel like they make me come out and become my best version of self. I feel like they're making me kind of move into a space or place where I can't be my best version of self. And that's why the feminine energy is almost saying, I'm letting that go with the hope that they can go on their own journey enough that they recognize that I am a garden, not an oasis. That in order to be able to come towards me, you need to energetically nourish the feminine. You can't just take from the feminine and expect that when you come back, there'll be anything left for you. That's how you pillage something. That's how you take all the fruit from the tree and there's nothing left. This is the feminine energy saying, I need an energetic commitment that nourishes me as much as it takes from me. Masculine, moving in the same modality right now if you are also on a healing journey. If this is a feminine that feels like you're seeing them twist or contort or making you or trying to get you to change too much, this is the masculine saying, I know that there is an expression of feminine that loves every part of me. I affirm that there is a feminine out there that will find me and say everything about you is a yes. And not to say that everyone's perfect, but to say that most of the things that someone sees, saying the ratio needs to be there. Someone who, again, is open and willing, that you don't need to hide something from. But the only way you build that is by not hiding anything from someone. So this is the masculine affirming their own commitment right now. Potentially, again, trying to move towards new connections of feminine and be as authentic, as open as possible. To almost say, are you the one? Are you that diamond I've been looking for? How can I show you that you are without showing you what I am, to see if you bring back the true mirror to me of what I aspire to be? I need to be open in this way. So for a lot of the masculine energy, this is taking a lot of energetic breakthrough, but the commitment is in not hiding anything from the new energetic connections of feminine. Beautiful lesson coming through for a lot of the masculine energy in separation, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. And what's happening in the wake of that? New energetic connections taking root. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Wands in its reversal and our 2 of Cups. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. We love this. We've got here our Six of Cups. Healing karmic, thank God. Healing karmic energy, right? Healing the karmic connection. And I need to stress here, this is the observation of the path work that can say to someone, I recognize, I identify that there is an energetic connection between me and other people. The better question is, what is the condition of the connection? Am I picking up that line and just hearing like heavy breathing and scratches? Or am I picking up the line and there's affirmation, there's positivity, there's support, there's connection? Are you picking up the line? You have to look at the energetic connections like this. You can be like, yeah, I feel a connection to someone. I got a deep connection. It's like an electric bolt. It's nothing positive. It's like it's made out of hair. Like it's made out of like barbed wire and hair. Is that the energetic connection that you have with someone? Or are you looking at it and saying it is nourishing? It is enlivening. It is building me up. It continues to nourish me. Is it an umbilical cord? Or is it like just something that is pulling on you? So this modality of ascertaining this is all for the sake of potentially creating positive karmic connections. And what's beautiful right now about this, is the energy that is moving forward in this way is almost looking at something and saying, I am willing to let go, energetically let go of an unhealthy karmic connection, recognizing that that is the way to try to say that is an ability of saying, hopefully that can come back when it's repaired. That is that moment of saying, and this is the energy that's not, I'm even saying this isn't energy that's cutting cords. This isn't energy going like, hiya! This is energy that's going, I am ready to let go of that live wire to hopefully recognize that when I pick it back up, it will be a nourishing branch. That perhaps that day will come when that connection will have done the work, that it won't hurt to be in that energetic karmic connection. It will be in a place that it is filled with compassion and love and is able to build that kind of energetic connection here, which is why we see that a lot of the energy right now potentially moving into separation is almost doing so out of a moment of saying, I am moving forward, wishing you nothing but the best. I am moving forward, hoping nothing but the best for you, because this is almost that energy that's saying to someone, I'm not forcing you to heal. I know that that's not healthy too. I am hoping in my heart of hearts that you find that path that will allow you to have those better connections. And this is the energy almost saying, if not with me, then hopefully with someone else someday. It doesn't, like, this is the energy of the true gift of love saying, I'm doing this for both of us because I want us both to be in that positive space and place. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union. This is why this energy is just zipping up into the divine union frequency so much quicker right now, because this is that moment that almost feels effortless, especially if these are energies right now that are saying and affirming to each other, you make this so easy. It's not that they made it easy. It's because they did the work. It's because they found themselves on the way. It's because they're not pulling each other on the path. It's just finding someone and feeling the counterpart energy that wants the same things you do. And it just feels like a breath of fresh air. Masculine and feminine energy that is in the divine union frequency. This is that moment that is almost feeling, again, like more of that energetic spring cleaning, because you're kind of already in this modality. This is that moment of looking and saying, how can we make it even better? How can we make it even easier? What do we have to remove? What isn't serving us anymore? And again, this is the energy saying, let's look back. It's not the fact that it's not like things were bad before. This is looking back almost at the past, at the energy of when you first entered the divine union and saying, we've matured. We've come into that maturation point. We are not children anymore in the divine union frequency. We're getting full grown. We have advanced energetically with one another. And that means we can put away the things that are no longer serving us, right? So that is the energy right now in the divine union frequency that's almost continuing to evolve and expand and adapt. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Cups in combination with our Devil card. One card to clarify. This is beautiful. So again, what are we seeing? Look at this. This is that moment that is identifying and recognizing it, the energy in the divine union frequency. This is that moment I told you we can put away childish things because we're no longer children anymore. So this is the energy in the divine union frequency doing that observation point of what may have served you when you first entered the divine union frequency no longer feels like it potentially serves you anymore. Why? Because you matured. That's a sign of the maturation of the energy in the divine union frequency, saying, don't need that anymore. May have needed it before, needed those training wheels. I got another card flying out here. We may have needed those training wheels before. We may have needed them, but now they don't feel like they're so much serving our purpose. It feels more like something that just feels like a burden. That is the sign of growing out of something. That is the sign of something healthy, being able to look at something and say, it's not that it's not for us. It's that it's no longer for us. It's no longer feeling like it serves us. And that is the gift of time, creating that point of maturation. Masculine and feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency. This is that modality that we're effectively seeing, that is the perception of what brought you to the divine union frequency. And even now, it may be feeling like this is the heart expanding exercise that often occurs when you come into this frequency. Because it's not that everything from the past just goes out the window. You don't think about it anymore. You think about it a lot. You may be even hitting a lot of counterbalance moments right now, where examples of how easy it can be is almost creating echoes of the situation and circumstances that you may have had in past experiences wherein that was not the case. Completely different. You may be having those moments of being like, wow, something very similar to this happened at one point with me, and boy, did it go in a different way. Because that is that moment that is almost creating that sense of confidence and healing. Because it's not the fact that you don't start to feel triggered because you start to see things that feel like shades of things that happened in the past. It is feeling the difference, getting the karmic healing and seeing this is what would have happened if you were with someone that was in alignment with you. This is what would have happened if you had been in a healing gesture. So this is that moment. This is the gift. I tell you, you don't have to be afraid of karma. You don't have to go running away from karma being like, oh no, the karma's coming. Sometimes the karma is very positive. Sometimes the karma is to show you something that you couldn't see at a moment that you were experiencing it, with the observation of, wow, this is what would have happened in a different circumstance with different energy around me. This is how easy it could have been. And that moment allows for a lot of energetic peace. It can feel triggering. It's not like those things don't hurt when they come back up. It's not like you don't still experience them. It can feel like almost that like traumatic blowback and feeling that memory of something even as something is going right. But that is that moment of, again, feeling like the wince of an old wound being healed in the moment that someone is pouring healing on it. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is what is so difficult for a lot of the energy right now that is moving forward in this way. Because this is the energy that is almost expressing to someone to a certain extent and saying, it is my greatest aspiration and desire that we be together, but not like this. It is my greatest aspiration and desire, potentially, that I am with someone, but not like this, because this is not healed. This is not healthy. This is the energy looking at something with the point and power of observation and saying, I would do anything for you, but not this. I would do anything to be with you except that. This is the feminine energy saying to the masculine, if this is occurring, I would do anything but create a codependent relationship where I see you becoming your worst version of self and not allowing a space or place for us to heal. I need to release you for you to come into healing, to be able to find me and recognize that healing is not something that I can give you. You need to find it for yourself. For masculine, this is that moment of saying, I cannot be in a relationship with someone who feels like they need to warp or contort or change to be in alignment with my true self. I can't build a world of illusion or pretend I'm something I'm not to be with the feminine. I care about that feminine energy, but not like that. That's not healthy. And this energy is moving into a state of immediate catharsis, because that is holding space for the pain of the existence of what is, with also while holding to the manifestation of what you desire or wish that it would become. And this is the energy saying, I am releasing it now for the hope that potentially that will come back in a healed form, or I will encounter someone that is ready to go on that journey. That is focusing on the manifestation goal, even when it is difficult. Focusing on your manifestations doesn't mean that you can just move in any direction and hope that your manifestation comes into power. You need to move and make those intentional choices that move you in the direction of what it is that you try to manifest. It takes time. And a lot of the energy that's moving forward in this way is moving forward with the affirmation of I am healing. I am healing. And hopefully as I am healing, they are as well. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Devil and our Empress energy. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, this card may look familiar. We saw it yesterday. We have here our Magician in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that are in separation. It's painful. Look at the amount of accountability this energy is having on itself. This is the energy feeling, again, the desire of saying, I'm doing what I wish I didn't have to do, but I don't see any other path work in order to do it. This is that moment that may feel like a lot of that sense of surrender, because a lot of this feels like the weight of saying, I couldn't fix something. But also what is happening in that moment. This is that modality of saying to someone, this is the feminine energy saying, this is not my responsibility to fix. This is not my responsibility to fix. This is my responsibility to observe. And that's that weight of a feminine, again, releasing what may be an unhealed karmic burden that you are taking, which is taking on the responsibility of another. Best amplified in basically having to say to a certain extent, it is not my responsibility to try to heal someone that does not feel that there's anything that needs to be healed. This is why we see that if feminine energy is hitting this modality, this is the catharsis that's coming to the feminine right now in separation. Because this is the feminine energy saying, I can facilitate any change with anyone if they recognize that they want to do that work. If this is a feminine that feels like there's a masculine, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, that they have this unhealthy connection with, but further, that the masculine either seems inclined to keep it that way or seems oblivious to the fact that it's occurring. This is the feminine saying, whether this is happening because the masculine isn't aware of it or because the masculine enjoys the relationship that feels like it's imbalanced, feminine saying to themselves, it's all the same in the wash. It doesn't matter which one of those modalities it is. It's all the same. And feminine says, I need to heal from it. Because without the masculine moving towards the feminine with a state of intentionality saying, I recognize the imbalance. I don't want to just be in a relationship where I take and you feel like you are empty. I want to build with you. I want to nourish you. Regardless of whether that's a masculine that's doing that intentionally or a masculine energy that feels like they don't see anything wrong with the circumstances at play. This is feminine going, it's the same either way. And that's the feminine coming back into their power and saying, I know what I aspire for. I know what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. I desire and aspire to be a garden, not an oasis. And the feminine is moving forward with that point of observation, albeit more cautiously. Masculine energy, if this is a modality wherein, again, you are seeing a feminine that is trying to come towards you at this time, potentially even trying to come towards you. But again, this is either a feminine saying, can you just change who you are? Can you just go back to the way you were? Can you just pretend that didn't happen? Can you just build a world of illusion around me? Or a feminine saying, I'll change, I'll adapt. What do you want? I'll become whatever you want me to become. I'll do anything to be with you. This is masculine going, no. And that's what's so hard about this is why this feels like for the masculine, this is masculine overcoming and coming into the power of your own self and the power of your own passion. Because this is the masculine like putting that hand out and saying, I want you to be healthy. I want you to be healed. I want you to be happy. I don't want to create a space where I see that your connection to me is energetically destroying you or changing you or warping you. This is the masculine saying like, I almost like moving themselves away from a connection out of a deep sense of love for a feminine. Moving towards a feminine that isn't going to feel like what the masculine is bringing forth is a bridge too far because they'll be on the same bridge. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now. We had another card pop up. I'm not surprised to see this here. We got the Knight of Wands that fell out of the deck as I was doing that reading, as well as our Six of Cups and our Temperance. Beautiful cards here. One card to clarify, please. Clarification with our Three of Wands. And this is why we see that there may be a lot of energy right now that's basically kind of coming into a point of ending some communication right now, potentially around situations or circumstances where they're not seeing that capacity of productivity or positive, healthy communication. Because even now we see that for a lot of the energy and separation right now, it is the aspiration and desire that by closing out what feels like an unhealthy cycle, the opportunity exists for someone to be able to find themselves and be able to communicate something more positively. We're almost seeing here, this is that moment for feminine of just kind of like energetically coming into a point of surrender. And what's difficult about this right now is, especially if this is masculine, it's continuing to pursue in that same modality that feels like it's coming more from that point of need, or more from that ability of trying to like subject the feminine to their emotions as opposed to being able to discuss them. This is the feminine saying like there's nothing else that can be said, because this is the feminine energy saying like if that's all that's coming through in this, then until the masculine is able to observe and to change change the way that they're communicating, feminine says, I'll know they're ready when they communicate that they're ready. This is the feminine saying, I don't need to check on that energy to do so. They'll be the first ones to tell me because they'll recognize what needed to change. So we see for a lot of the feminine energy, that's why the feminine energy is almost affirming and continuing to move forward in this way and not necessarily pushing forward on a communication. It's not like the feminine opening the door being like, are you healed yet? Just checking to see if you're healed. No, like that's the feminine energy being like, it's not going to work like that. When that energy understands, the feminine is like, I will know. They will be the first ones to tell me. Masculine energy in this modality, this is the same thing to a certain extent. This is the masculine energy saying to a certain extent, I know that they might not understand this, but hopefully the day comes where they recognize and identify what I was trying to communicate to them, why we had to move forward in this way, why I had to say like we want different things right now. I need to send you forward in this way. And this is the masculine coming into that moment of, again, potentially energetically having to feel like they're closing a door, if you will, if they're not seeing a feminine understanding the difference between saying to a masculine like, I'm on the same page with you, I want the same things, yay, this is exciting, I want to do this with you, versus a feminine saying, I don't like who you are. I don't like how you do this. I don't like how you like that. I think you need to change this. I'll do anything to be with you. I'll change anything you need me to do. That's that moment of the masculine saying, again, when we find ourselves, it'll feel like it's easy because there'll be that moment that we just accept ourselves in our truth. And masculine says, I'm not saying that that day isn't possible, but it's not present here. So we see even now, this is masculine almost trying to communicate this in a positive way as they try to articulate to someone and say, I'm moving away from you because I care about you. Not because I don't care, because I care tremendously. That is that gift of love. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is that observational point that's so beautiful and empowering, because this is the energy right now of being able to look back in the past, feeling the full weight of the heart opening that may be happening with that point of understanding, but not letting yourself getting pulled out of the divine union frequency, trying to repair or fix something from the past, but almost utilizing it to articulate your own commitment to the present. So for the feminine, that could be most expressed in a masculine, almost saying like, listen, I want you to recognize that if I'm working this stuff through with you, this doesn't mean that I want to go back to a past situation or scenario. It's telling me that I'm having breakthroughs in the moment that I'm building a connection with you of things I couldn't see about myself in those past scenarios. Feminine seeing a masculine that's opening up in this way is feeling, again, the value of a masculine. It's almost saying to the feminine, I'm opening up to you. I'm not hiding anything from you. I want to talk to you about these things because you are my trusted source. You are my path to guidance. You are the energy that I feel like I'm building this fundamental connection with, that facilitates an ability that anything I share with you builds a bridge. It doesn't tell you that I'm feeling like I have cold feet. This is the feminine almost saying, like, I recognize that. I understand the difference between talking about something that you're working on healing versus talking about something because you desire and aspire to go back to it. Because feminine knows and understands that a masculine energy that doesn't talk about something is a masculine energy that is potentially hasn't let something go. So even now we see that the feminine's almost potentially saying this to a masculine that's trying to unpack something with the feminine, saying like, no, I don't think that this is a bad thing. I think that this is a very healthy thing because you're showing me that you're ready to let something go. You're ready to release something. You're not holding it close to your chest because there's nothing that you're hiding from me. So even now we see that that is where we see that that energetic connective tissue is forming, as it were. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency. This ability to build forth together is requiring a point of observation, because the energy has effectively changed right now while being in the heart of the divine union frequency. Feminine, building that sense of resilience. Again, silk to steel, strong yet vulnerable, coming into Empress energy. Masculine, being able to be vulnerable, feeling your own energetic sensations, but also being able to articulate upon them, is creating that energetic leadership characteristic of someone who is very tuned into their own self, but also very connected in terms of communicating with others. It's creating this opportunity, effectively, of both of these energies having new plans, having new ideas, finding themselves in these modalities and needing to make adaptations along the way, which is effectively, again, what feels like it is serving the purpose of the present versus what is something that you may have to effectively look at and say, that no longer interests me, that no longer intrigues me, that no longer captivates me, because I find that I've evolved in the modality of being with the counterpart energy. So we see even now that ability right now of ascertaining what feels like it is productive versus what feels like it is no longer serving a purpose is energetically creating a lot of breakthroughs, because it is freeing the energy in the divine union up for the new opportunities that await on the other side. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Temperance in combination with our Magician in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy. A lot of conversations right now around plans, around habitation, even potentially around tangible comfort level in terms of locationality and space. There may be some energy right now in the divine union frequency that just feels like you are out of space because, again, the work that you're doing right now is almost amplifying that need of expansion that's potentially happening here. I told you there's a little bit of these growing pains, if you will. What happens when we experience growing pains? They push us further. They give us that impetus not to feel weighed down, not to let ourselves feel overwhelmed, but almost creating that space saying, I need to find more efficiencies here so that I can do something in a more effective way. The energy right now in the divine union frequency is ascertaining any moments of personal frustration or discomfort right now to be able to apply practices that are going to allow better easement going forward. Masculine and feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency right now. This is that moment that feels like a bit of a heart expansion exercise, because this isn't necessarily, this could be happening on the tangible level for some of the energy. This could be creating a moment of really wanting to change living accommodations or make some adaptations to make it easier to be in the heart of the divine union frequency. But also what we're effectively or energetically seeing right now is this point of observation in relationality to understanding what may have led to these moments that was not working in the perception of what is. This is the grace of being in the divine union. It gives you new eyes. It gives you new clarity. It gives you new understanding. And it's something that you're almost looking at and saying, well, now I can heal from it. I couldn't heal from it before because I couldn't see it. Now the energy see is where the energetic work of healing is really going to be applied going forward. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is that moment of effectively throwing up your hands to a certain extent and saying, I've done everything that I can energetically do. For a lot of the energy right now, what's so painful about this is almost that moment of saying, it's not one desire to do these things. A lot of the energy coming into separation over this says, this is not what I hoped for. This is the last thing I would hope to do, especially if it's causing a separation moment with an energy that you were aspiring and desiring for a better outcome with. But that's that moment that we see here, that the energy isn't losing faith or hope that something might someday come into a point of healing. It's almost like you're just putting a longer timeline on it, saying it's clearly not today. And if there was a separation event that led to a return, this is almost saying it's clearly going to need more time. Might not ever happen, but it's definitely that way. It's not here. So that's that moment that feels motivated by the momentary frustration of the present to continue forward, because it's almost like the hope exists in that forward space in terms of something that could come into a deeper sense of healing. Final card for today's spread between our Three of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. What did I tell you? What happens when we feel those moments? Look at this. Look at this beautiful energy of separation right now. This is the energy of separation that we want to see, because this is energy that is feeling the frustration of the current moment. They're also feeling like there's some kind of communication blockage here. But this is that affirmation that almost feels like a point of liberation, because this is that moment of saying to oneself, this doesn't feel effectively like something that you can correct. It feels like something that you're effectively or energetically breaking away from, because it's that moment of basically feeling like you've exhausted everything that you can do in a situation or scenario, and nothing that you do is making it better. That is almost giving that moment of catharsis, saying, I recognize and understand that I need to move forward from this, and I'm not losing anything in the process, because this is that aspiration, that future endpoint, whatever is in the future, that ability to do so, that cutting something off, if you will, moving away from it, is effectively, potentially providing that ability of something coming back in a better way in the long term. So that is that energetic movement right now of someone focusing on the manifestation goal, even through what feels like a difficult moment. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This observation point, this ability to effectively recognize the success that you're having now, moving into the divine union frequency, is giving you so much clarity on what didn't before. Is that pulling you out of the divine union frequency to go fix and repair it? No. It's just giving you clarity. It's making you feel like the triumph is seeing something and observing it, and feeling that sense of feeling encouraged to continue onward and forward in this capacity, potentially even laying plans forth to make it even easier to be in the divine union. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union right now. This is that energetic efficiency point. This is looking at something and ascertaining what no longer feels like it is serving you, but all for the sake of having breakthrough. So even now, that observation point of what you're releasing or letting go is allowing for new opportunities and experiences to enter. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. One of the things that we're effectively seeing right now, and this is very intriguing, is that moment of tangible frustration that's potentially happening around some circumstances or experiences. We are seeing here that both for masculine and feminine, there's a lot of prioritization of time, effort, and energy that is at play right now. Masculine doing a lot of this work to put a lot of energetic effort right now in tangibles. Feminine is having a little bit harder of a time with this, bearing in mind that it is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Why? Because this is feminine energy right now that is feeling that point of frustration in relationality to being able to focus on the tangibles. Why? Because we see here that this is feminine energy that is working right now on their own sense of resilience. And some of that may have been experienced in the past as a feminine energy putting too much weight on their own stability to look for that point of resilience. So a lot of this right now is feminine energy coming through a lot of trauma in relationality to feeling how to create that sense of stability for themselves at this time. For feminine energy in this modality, this may be feeling like a difficult line to walk, even in the divine union frequency, because I'm going to say that there may be something about this that amplifies the easement of the masculine being able to move into that point of tangible stability, as opposed to the feminine doing so. Even here we see this could be feeling like the feminine navigating some points of overwhelm in relationality to what they need to do and what they need to prioritize. Masculine and feminine coming into the divine union frequency, this modality of feminine recognizing and identifying. I told you, for a lot of the feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency right now, one of the things that may feel difficult in relationality to the karmic lesson is the feminine recognizing and identifying spaces and places where they may have tried to create stability where stability didn't exist. For a feminine energy in this modality right now, this can be a little frustrating, because this is almost that modality of feminine looking back on a situation or circumstance and not being able to shoulder the brunt of accountability to the extent that they would desire to, almost makes the feminine energy not want to be in a space or place where they feel like they're blaming others. So trying to come into a point of accountability in terms of what was not their responsibility, without feeling like they're blaming the energy around them for the situations and circumstances being the way that they were. Masculine in this modality, right? And feminine in separation, this is that modality that you're letting go of something, but you don't know what you're going to find around the other bend. So this is that moment that feels frustrating for feminine, because this is feminine almost feeling like you're letting go of what you have for what you don't have, right? And that can be a frightening moment, if you will, because that's that moment that almost feels like the amplification of the space between like not having anything as you start to like move towards your manifestation goal. So being able to recognize that to a certain extent, requiring that point of grounding, is almost coming into the feminine energy, realizing that partnership is not what stabilizes them. Stability is something that the feminine finds in their own person. Masculine going through this right now, that ability of seeing a feminine in this modality. This is the masculine both in the divine union frequency and also coming into the divine union frequency of feeling that need to want to overly protect the feminine. But again, not wanting to do so in a way that makes the feminine feel like they can't depend or rely on their own self. So we see even now that that can be a little bit of a tricky place for some of the energy coming that's in the divine union frequency or coming into the divine union frequency. While for the energy right now of the masculine in separation, this is that connection point that you may be feeling a lot of connection, a lot of energetic or spiritual connection to a feminine, but feeling that weight of the energy of the feminine not necessarily being stable in their own self enough to be able to facilitate an equal balanced partnership. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I'd like to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow.